Good morning. Good morning. This is Cruz with EMC Mortgage. We got Ryang Gonzales over at Becker Properties. Wanted just to bring you another weekly update on what's going on in the real estate market. Ryan, what's new with you?
What's up, man? What's new? I have been really busy. Just contracted some buyers that you sent me yesterday. That was awesome. Been working with a couple listings. Got a listing shoot today. Closing a couple, one this week and one next week as well. Market's picking up, man. Market's busy. How about you?
You know, I got to say that a lot of what's going on, I would hope, is something that's going to continue. You know, not just something that's seasonal. Rates have been all over the place, and I think finally people are seeing that it's not going to change. You know, the longer you rent, the more money you're just throwing away. And now with house prices coming down a little bit, I was just talking to you a minute ago. Young lady that's buying a home in Austin, that house a year ago was probably $500K with seller giving nothing.
Yeah.
She got it this year for $430, and the seller's paying almost $15,000 of her closing costs. And so that price difference allows her to be able to buy a home instead of renting. She's been renting for the last 15 years.
Sure. And Austin was one of those markets that was crazy.
Yes.
Crazy high. So it's come down a little bit.
It's more of a situation where I think people are able to shop around. I mean, before, if you found one house in a price range you liked, there was 20 people looking at it. Mm-hmm. And when I say 20, I'm not even exaggerating. It was literally 20 people.
Yeah, maybe more.
And now you've got so many options that aren't just a condo. You got Austin, East Side, you got the South Side, you got Kyle, you got Buda. And so you got all these different markets that feeding into Austin that now is opening up that affordability. And so now you're starting to see a lot more inventory.
Yeah.
And so now sellers are having to be competitive.
I like this market too because it's giving builders time to build. I don't know if you remember talking to any buyers on the waiting list for builders.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy. Sometimes we wouldn't be able to find out until 3 months, 4 months down the road whether or not we can even contract that particular floor plan we're looking at. And by that time, guess what? The price went up.
Well, it was interesting. One of the builders that I worked with would give me a preview. He's like, hey, Carlos, I've got 3 houses that are going to hit the market next Monday. Do you know anybody that wants to buy at that price point? And so my buyers were giving a little more preference because we've just been doing business for so many years.
Yeah.
And it was really sad because one day when they posted it, 3 houses were already gone.
Quick.
My buyers bought the 3 houses.
Your buyers
and
bought
so
it.
when they posted the listings, there were people outside waiting in line.
Oh my God.
And they were already gone.
Hey man,
it's all about who you know.
It's not what you know, it's who you know. Yeah.
Exactly.
I was getting some preference too because I would sell a lot of new construction back then, and I would go to specific sales reps, and they're like, "Okay, I got you next."
That matters.
It does matter. It definitely does.
Because, I mean, you deal with such a big mix. I mean, you've dealt with people that are retiring and downsizing. You've dealt with people that are buying their very first home that are really tight on budget. You've dealt with the millionaires buying the $1 million home. You've dealt with repeat buyers. So many of your buyers that you take to builders, are you seeing more of that first-time buyer, or are you seeing pre-existing buyers?
A little bit of both. I deal with a lot of first-time buyers that are looking at new construction because of incentives. That's what really gravitates them towards that. I mean, you know, builders are giving all closing costs, buying down your rate. They're doing these programs where they give you a lower rate the first 1-2 years, but still fix you into a good rate the third year. So there's a lot of advantages to going new construction. The biggest complaint that I get and hesitation I get for new construction is just the distance, because now everything's so far. Like the areas that are really growing that are affordable are out there by Alamo Ranch, like, you know, Calabria area, and that area is just tough because of the traffic as well. And then out 90, or you're looking at out I-10 East going towards Houston, Seguin.
You have an entire community going up in Castroville.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's almost a 45-minute drive.
Mm-hmm.
And people are jumping on it because the prices are affordable.
Yeah.
I've got a builder right now that their in-house lender couldn't do the deal. Shocker. Sorry, it's a little bit of sarcasm.
That's
Their
good for you.
in-house lender couldn't do it. They just don't have the bandwidth or the lender options that I have. And so my friend calls me from the builder. He says, "Hey, Carlos," he said, "this gentleman wants to buy 2 homes. He's got his green card, and there's a lot of viability there, but our in-house won't touch it." Well, I got that call on a Saturday. By Sunday, I already had 14 offers from different lenders
That's
that
legit.
wanted the deal.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So by Monday, when we had our group call, we were able to get on a conference call with this buyer while he'd just gotten back from Europe. And we were walking through different loan scenarios. And so here's the cool thing. That builder is giving me the $20,000 to $30,000 builder incentive.
That's so awesome.
That's huge. Now that guy can buy the home that he wants, not have to worry about buying down the rate, and gets a good deal.
What builder is this?
Perry Homes.
Okay.
I've been working with them for about 10 years now, 8 years.
Yeah, so what I had heard is that if the builder's lender can't do the deal and an outside lender can, a lot of times they'll give you those incentives.
Correct. Perry will give some of those incentives to me most of the time.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether they
Depends
use
on the
in-house.
builder, right? The
Yeah.
relationship and all that stuff, but you have a really good relationship with them.
I've done a lot of deals for them, usually rescue deals.
Yeah, you're saving deals. Why wouldn't they give you the hookup, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. And I can say that in the 8 to 10 years that I've been doing those deals, I've closed every single one of them.
That's awesome.
And that matters, right?
Yeah.
I mean, your reputation is all you got.
So is that the only builder you work with?
No, I work with a couple others, but they're smaller. They don't, I won't say that they don't feed me enough, but it's just inconsistent.
Yeah.
They might have a policy this quarter where we get the we get the lender credit, and then it changes in the next quarter.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just really dynamic. I think most builders now, because they're slow too, are open to outside lenders.
Yeah. How many deals are you getting, like, on average from them
From a builder,
that you're having to save? A couple each month, or?
I would say 3 to 5 a year.
Oh, okay.
But they're huge deals.
Sure.
They're 500, 800, $1 million, and it's the difference between really ruining a reputation or making a family happy.
Yeah.
So again, Perry has always been very respectful.
It makes sense that they're open to outside lenders and brokers because, I mean, you just offer so much more. So why wouldn't they want to try to sell their house with an outside lender
At a better rate?
versus yeah, well, actually keeping it on their books, right? Because it's just sitting and then
He's going to buy. The question is, does he going to buy at that community or the one down
Yeah.
the street?
yeah, for sure. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Speaking of the buyer that you saved and the buyers that you rescue, you did a unique deal with this past client of ours.
I got good news.
What's that?
Okay. So this buyer is employed in Florida and was going to be relocating to Texas and hadn't gotten a job yet, which meant there was no usable income. However, I have lender products that are non-QM lender products,
What's non-QM?
non-qualified mortgage, meaning they are not going to go to Freddie or Fannie or HUD or VA. They're going to go to an outside lender that's going to approve them based on their criteria.
It's kind of like it's a non-traditional loan, right?
Correct.
Kind of.
Correct. And so we were able to get them pre-approved, ready to go, out shopping. They find the home that they want. But then here's the great news. She got a job offer that's starting within 90 days. Well, Freddie and Fannie have a rule that say if you're getting a contract and job offer with no contingencies within 90 days of you moving and closing, you can buy the home with the new income. So we're flipping it conventional.
Oh, that's awesome.
So her rate just went from something like a 9.2 to something in the mid sixes, I think, or high
Really?
sevens. Yeah, low sevens, I think. 7.1. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
almost
awesome.
2 points.
That's awesome, man.
So yeah, her payment just went down $400, $500.
It just all worked out for them.
Well, here's the thing. They didn't have to stress about relocating, getting a hotel, getting temporary living, moving all their stuff into storage. They were able to just, boom, they're going to close and move all their stuff in their home.
That's awesome. Awesome.
It's
So-
about laying that foundation, right?
So that closing date's going to be fine for them.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
In fact, we've already shipped it to. We already packaged it. We already disclosed it last night, and we shipped it to the lender. It'll probably go out by 4 today,
Cool.
and I'll probably get an approval by Monday or Tuesday.
That's awesome. Yeah, you had already collected all their documentation up front,
Yeah.
and so it was real easy for you to see how you could get them approved. Like, not only you knew you could get them approved, but what lender we're going to be able to use, what rate we're going to get.
It's a really good question, right? So yes, I knew that I could get them approved. The more information I could get
Sure.
gave me more scenarios to look at. But we also had to factor in their timeline, right? They wanted to be in the home by a certain date, which meant, the further along we went, that window got 1 week shorter each Sunday, right? So as it got shorter and shorter, some of my lenders, as we've talked about before, they're not the most efficient in closing in 14 days.
Sure.
I've got lenders that will, but they're also not going to be the cheapest lender. So what this did was this new window gave us an opportunity to look at not only a quick closing lender, but also a lender with a really good rate. Could I have gotten them a cheaper rate? Yeah, but it would have been probably a 45 or 60-day close because these lenders are very meticulous in how they're going to approve a loan. The disclosure process is a little clumsy. I say 45 to 60, but it's really probably 30, 35. But I always prefer to err on the side of caution because you just don't know.
Yeah, that's always best.
We've learned that already.
Definitely learned that. Buyers hate the unexpected, right? You
Agreed.
Try to prepare, and err on the side of caution.
Last night I disclosed. I said, listen. I said, I'm a little warning. I said, I'm warning you that these closing costs are probably a little high. She says, no, that's fine. I said, no. I'm telling you, they're going to be a little high because I know they're going to come down. And then it was cool because we were texting up until about 9 o'clock at night, and I said, hey, do you want to waive your escrow? Well, that's going to save her another almost, I think, $2,700 in closing costs.
Yeah. Maybe more.
Yeah. So she was happy.
Yeah.
Real happy. So this is
Less
a fun
upfront
time for
costs.
them.
Yeah.
And then when I saw you toured the house.
I did. I ended up doing my own tour separately. A video tour is about 6-7 minutes, just slowly walking through the house and pointing out stuff, describing the layout, the upgrades, and it's so much more effective when you do it that way versus just seeing the video and pictures online.
So did you just do like a FaceTime and
then I did a FaceTime? Yeah.
Okay.
So I did a video and I upload it to YouTube, and then I'll send them the link so they can have a full video to reference or look back on. But also we did a FaceTime, and that was a longer process. We were probably on the phone for about 25 minutes, walking through the house, and they were just asking me to show them a couple things again, or had some questions about specific areas in the house or the outside, and basically just had me give them my opinion on everything, and it went great.
because they have family that live a little bit outside of San Antonio. Was the family able to take a look?
They didn't. Yeah, they didn't end up going.
Okay.
I don't know if they wanted them to go. They never said anything about that.
Okay.
They were fine with the FaceTime. The quality matters, though. Like online, we were talking about, just do's and don'ts of sellers. But the quality online for this particular listing was really good.
So the sellers did what they should have done
Yeah.
to market that home.
Yeah.
Because we were talking to the family, and I think one of the stress points was the price point that they were looking at. All of those houses were being snatched up in 3 days, 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really scaring them that, God forbid, they get here and now whatever they like might be months away.
Yeah.
So when they found this house, you're saying that the listing photos were done well. The listing itself was presentable
The
well.
whole listing, yeah, description, the photos, and everything was in fine detail.
So, without plugging the listing agent, it sounds like this listing agent knew what they were doing.
Yeah, she's been in the game for a while.
That matters a lot.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's very similar to what we do at Becker Properties with my brokerage, but make sure that you have like quality.
I want to talk about
Footage
your
overall.
brokerage for a second because I've used them before. Talk to me about what all the things that you guys offer on a listing that set you guys apart from many other people.
One of the biggest things I think we do is we try to brighten up the home. And I don't know of any brokerage or listing production team that does this, but we change out every single light bulb to a daylight bulb to brighten up the home tremendously. And it just makes a world of difference. Because if you look at natural daylight versus like a light bulb, a regular light bulb.
That yellowish light bulb,
yeah. The yellowish orange light bulb. Daylight, if you have enough daylight in the home, it just looks so much better, natural, right? So we use these daylight bulbs to really brighten up the home, and we use even external bulbs in certain shots if we need to, if the room's still kind of dark. Just to...
Because you have a professional, like a videographer that does all this, right?
Yes, yeah. We have a production team, so we have someone come in and do the changing of the light bulbs and declutter some areas of the house, because if there's just a little bit too much stuff in the room, it's important to get some of that stuff out so the room looks bigger and more usable, and it just makes a world of difference. Like taking everything off the countertops, I'm not sure who's doing this either, but making it look really clean and staged as much as possible so the buyer can really imagine themselves in the home. This comes with decluttering the home as well, just up front when you're the seller trying to sell this home. If you remember when you went to go house shopping, what did you like to see when you walked through a home, right? You didn't want to see personal belongings or personal art, maybe some personal art or personal colors that are just a little bit unique in the kitchen or whatnot. Like I've seen kitchens. Like,
I've seen pink kitchens.
Yeah, orange,
canary
pink,
yellow kitchens.
Yellow, something like that. Everybody has their own touch, right? Everybody has their own desire when it comes to their style, and so just depersonalizing stuff overall with family photos and changing stuff up a little bit makes a world of difference when it comes to showing your home.
So what I'm hearing is use Becker Properties. The second thing is when you're interviewing that listing agent, it really matters to use somebody that is a professional. You know, and it's interesting because I've worked with a lot of different buyers over the years and seen a lot of different listings and a lot of different listing photos. I don't want to use the wrong word. These discount listings where somebody just pays a couple $100 just to get it on the MLS, and you load your own photos.
Yep.
And you look at all the photos, and there's a reason there's a professional that does photography, and there's a reason that an iPhone doesn't work for shooting a home.
Yeah.
I mean, and I remember we had a buyer that found a home, and we looked at the photos. We were like, ooh, that doesn't look good. The house was gorgeous. The photos were so bad. The house had sat on the market for like 6 months.
It matters. Definitely. There's a ton of listings that you're going to send your client. The first place they look is online, right?
Right.
They're going to look through all the photos and the description, the neighborhood and everything. And they'll just like skip that house. If the photos are really bad, they're dark, they're bad quality, they're upside down. I've seen all kinds of things with photos. There's people in the picture. There's pets in the pictures. It's crazy. It's insane, man. I don't understand. And some of these are not discount listings. Some of these are like actual listing agents that are doing this, and they just weren't trained right, or I don't know what they were thinking, or maybe they had the homeowner take photos for them because they thought that was what you're supposed to do. Those discount listings, so those would be good for somebody that is an agent but maybe doesn't sell, but knows what it takes to sell a home. I have this investor friend that she became an agent herself, but her license is inactive, but she knows all the ins and outs of real estate, and she sold a lot of homes because she flips a lot of homes. So because of that, she's talked with me a number of times and seen a number of listings. She knows exactly more or less what the buyers are looking for. So she takes her own photos. She bought a camera specifically to take photos in the house, not just
Well,
our
she
photo.
made an effort to be a professional. She invested in her business.
Yeah, specifically for the investment side to be able to list her own home, basically. But she, instead of like keeping up with the licensing, because it costs money to hold your license and MLS access and all that, she just uses a discount broker and pays, a flat fee to them. She has to upload.
That makes sense.
Yeah, she has to upload everything herself. But it's very similar to a Zillow listing. If you've ever done that, you can upload your listing on Zillow, and she knows what to do as far as if she's going to stage it, or the colors, or the angles of pictures, how many pictures, the description, all that matters. And if you're not doing it on a consistent basis or know what to do and what to look for, or what buyers are looking for, you're not going to do a good job listing that property.
It's funny when my wife and I were looking for a home years ago. We found a home in an older neighborhood, and the home was pretty big. And when we looked at the photos, you didn't get any perspective of the scale of the home or the yard. I mean, there must have been an oak tree in the front yard that was probably 100 plus years old. It was enormous. It covered the entire yard.
Oh, wow.
It was beautiful. And there was not a single photo that captured the house with the tree. I mean, it sounds silly, but 100-year-old oak tree that covers an entire yard is kind of cool. And then when we went to the back, there were all these terraces of levels. There was barbecue. There was a swimming pool area. None of that was in the listing.
Wow.
And again,
like pictures? Like
none of the pictures. We didn't know how gorgeous the yard was.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's, again, bad listings. Really, I think, are a reflection of either a listing agent that can't convince a seller to do the right way, or a bad listing agent. And it matters because, especially if you're going to carry a second mortgage note, do you really want to carry that mortgage note for 6 months?
It really matters. Something else that we do, and that I know more brokers do this and offer this, is a full virtual tour, so a full video, and it has a voiceover on the back end of it. So it's basically showing you the house, but I'm describing everything that's included in the house and trying to help the buyer visualize how high the ceilings are, or whether the kitchen has granite, the backsplash, pointing out certain features of the home. If it has stainless steel appliances, if the fridge is staying, if it has upgraded showers or upgraded flooring. Sometimes through pictures and video, you can't tell what type of flooring that is. So me describing it really helps, as well as drone shots to see the actual land, the lot size, and see your fence parameter, and also whether or not maybe you have a green belt behind you, or you can kind of get a glimpse of what the neighborhood looks like and how it's laid out. So that's been real helpful as well, because 99% of the buyers are all looking online, right? So the more information you can give online through pictures and video and different shots, different descriptions, you're winning 100%.
So talking about it online, I read an article, and I don't want to misrepresent what I read, because I want to make sure that I understood it correctly. So Zillow is probably where everyone starts looking. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's the Band-Aid, it's the Q-tip of real estate.
Yep.
I was reading an article that Zillow is unhappy with some of these real estate brokerages that have what they call private listings. And if I understand correctly, these are listings that only that broker has access to, and they're not going on MLS yet. And those listings are being offered only to their clients. Is that correct?
They're pocket listings.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
okay.
They're pocket listings, private listings. They're not open to the public.
So
they're
Zillow's angry.
Yeah, they're not going to be on Zillow.
Zillow, from what I read about this article, all of these buyers or sellers, that have contracted with this brokerage that have pocket listings are now banned. That entire brokerage is banned from posting anything on Zillow.
Yeah, so you could post your. Remember, I was telling you you can post yourself on Zillow, and so what you would have to do if you want that private listing on Zillow, which they might, they might just not want it on MLS, but if they're going to put it on Zillow, it doesn't make any sense not to have it on MLS. Because MLS syndicates to Zillow. So anything that's publicly on MLS, it syndicates to Zillow. So they must be listing it. Maybe there's a way to list it private on Zillow too. I'm not sure. But you can list it separately.
So what's the value of a seller wanting a pocket listing?
It's a privacy thing. They don't want their address out there. They don't want everybody to know either. They don't want everybody to know they're selling their house, or they don't want certain people to know. They just want to keep that identity or the house identity secret or basically private.
Interesting. Years ago, I did a loan.
It's usually for like really high class listings.
Okay. I did a loan for a buyer, and it was really strange. I hadn't run across this yet, and there was no information on this address. The county appraisal district, it was blank on the website. Everything was a blank. Nothing. I mean, you'd pull it up on a map, and it wouldn't even show up as an address that was listed on the map. You'd do the drive-by on the street level, and it would be grayed out, and I didn't know what was going on. Well, then I found out from the listing agent that the man that owned the home was a federal judge, and he had blocked all access to the property for security reasons, for safety.
There's actually a law in place. Their address has to be blocked.
We didn't know that.
Yeah.
We didn't know who the seller was, and the listing agent hadn't brought it up yet.
Yeah.
So we were scrambling for a week.
That probably goes for some other high individuals as well, I would assume.
I would assume so. People that want their privacy completely secure.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Safety reasons for sure. That is going on with Zillow.
Okay. How do you see that affecting real estate agents that work at those brokerages?
It won't affect them.
That's good to hear.
No. Now, these agents that take these private listings, they typically have a certain circle that they work with.
No, but I'm saying what I read in the article is that entire brokerage is banned from Zillow now.
Oh, the brokerage is banned? Oh, okay. Well, that's going to definitely matter.
Okay.
A lot of those agents will, if they don't do those, do you know which brokerage it is?
I don't want to name it because I want to make sure that I didn't misread the article.
Okay. What I think is going to happen is, if that's the case, if it happens, there might be just like hearsay about it right now. I don't know if it's officially going to happen, but if it does, a lot of those agents that are not doing the private listings will be affected by that, of course, because MLS syndicates to Zillow, and everybody pretty much starts Zillow or Realtor.com. So I would think it's in their best interest to leave and go to another brokerage.
Do you know anyone that's hiring?
We're not. I'll tell you that right now. My broker doesn't want to take on any new agents. It's tough, man. That's why I didn't go the whole broker world, because it's so tough. You start having agents under you, then you have to have like either a manager, you got to oversee them, and a lot of liability and all that. Then plus that you have to, if they're newer, you have to train them. You have to get them caught up to speed, and that takes a lot of time as well. So that's tough.
When you work with this level of business, the financial responsibility to do things right are huge, right? So one of the gentlemen that I work with in the brokerage, in our mortgage brokerage, even though we're independent employees, even though we're self-employed, we have an agreement that if something happens to me, he'll just take over all my loans, and so he has access to all my loans. Yeah. Because things happen, accidents happen. God forbid I'm in a car wreck and I can't work on a loan for a month. That will never affect the family. So we've already got securities in place.
Yeah.
And so my team will just immediately shift to him.
Yep.
It's just, and same thing with you in the brokerage.
Yeah, it's exact same thing. If anything happened to the agent, I mean, as easy as or as simple as like their license expiring, all the deals will automatically go under the broker.
I've met your broker. He's got an incredible amount of integrity. He's extremely respectful.
Mm-hmm.
He's respected in the business.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think didn't you say that his family was also in the business before him?
Yeah.
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 So kind of not his first rodeo.
Yeah, exactly. They were involved in real estate, but not really too heavy. He really was a trailblazer. He wanted to do this, and he talked to a bunch of people that were in the business when he first got started, and he figured out that he couldn't be his own broker because at the time you needed to be a real estate agent, have a number of schooling hours and number of transactions to become a broker. So it was 2 years at that time. And now it's 4 years. It made it a little tougher, but at that time he found another broker to sponsor his company, the Becker Properties company. So he's never worked under another broker except himself, basically, because he found a loophole on how to become Becker Properties right off the bat. And I thought that was pretty impressive. So when I first met him, he was telling me that story, and then he was telling me about how he got in the business and what he was doing now. I mean, it just everything about him screamed success. So I went with him after I was with another broker for 6 months, and then I went with him, and I've been with him ever since.
Yeah, you've never moved.
Yeah, no.
I mean, we all enter a market where we don't know.
Yeah,
and then once we do know,
mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of my friends still make fun of me that I should have moved to the broker world years ago. I've run my own businesses. I've done a number of different things. I've run large companies, and when I stayed in that other world where I was limited to just one lender and one option and one rate stack, I will admit I did a disservice to my buyers. It didn't hit me. It didn't hit me until I lost business. And it wasn't just, I mean, prior to that year, I had never lost more than 2 or 3 deals in a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I lost, by June of last year, I lost more business than I had closed.
Yeah. It definitely matters, man. You made a good move. I remember when I first met you, though, you're with a completely different company, and you switched a couple times. One thing that I just admired about you was that you were always switching to another company that you felt had more options. That's what I always remember you saying. I was like, why'd you switch? Well, they just have more options for the buyers. They have more options. They provide this. Now I'm getting this. Now I'm doing this. So it was always trying to level up, but it was never quite the broker world because that's completely different, right? And until you found out there's that hybrid option, you just thought there was maybe a better mortgage banker option, and you just kept going because of that.
I knew that there's something better, but it always comes at a cost. And once you shift to the broker world, all that cost is gone, which is why my rates are always better than everybody's.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a good move.
It does help. Rates matter. I think that should be my tattoo. Rates matter.
Yeah.
So what do you see yourself doing over the next 3 months? Do you see yourself focusing on any particular agenda? Is it to try and grab more listings? Is it to try and, reach out to more buyers? Is it to focus on past buyers? Do you have a plan that you're working on?
I actually have always preferred buyers, and I still prefer buyers, especially in this market. So when the market was really hot and competing with multiple offers, like 10, 15, 20 offers, that was stressful. That was tough. I had to learn how to adapt and win those offers as well, which I got very good at. This market has slowed down quite a bit. There was a multiple offer situation with this past buyer we had. 4 offers in a matter of 4 days, 5 days.
Can I interject something?
Yeah.
Okay. So that listing agent called me that night.
Mm-hmm.
And we were texting a little bit back and forth, and she was okay. And then like at 8:03 in the morning, she texted me and says, "Can you call me? I need some clarity." And probably said a little bit more than she wanted to or realized. She was very sweet. And when I described the quality of the buyer and the strength of the buyer, and then I emphasized that I was jealous that the buyer had better credit score than me, and then I gave her my score, she immediately said, "Okay, you're now the first or second offer that I'm going to present." And I think and she also made it clear, you guys didn't ask for anything, whereas all the other offers had.
Yeah.
And she said the strength of that offer is why she was wanting to present it so quickly.
Of course.
And we got the deal.
Well, and that's what I was going to mention too. There's a certain way to structure an offer in this market compared to a couple years ago or even prior to that, 4 or 5 years ago. Every market's a little different. So if you're not in the market and you're not doing this on a daily basis, you're not going to know. But once I found out there was multiple offers in the house, first there was just one and us. I had a good idea that based off what I've seen in the market, most offers are asking for some closing costs, or they're not going full price. This agent actually told me, hey, this is not full price, just want you to know. So she gave me that insight with me just chatting with her for a bit. And I was like, okay, cool. So I relayed that to my buyers, and I said, hey, we can go in at full price, but we'll ask for, 10,000 closing costs, title survey. Another offer came in, and I was like, okay, now we're competing against two. Still, most buyers are asking for closing costs, even if it's a little bit, whether it be half or a quarter or something, or maybe asking for some type of repairs up front. So I said, hey, I think our best bet is to go in full price and only ask for title and survey. Don't ask for a home warranty. Let's try to close as quick as we can. And I'm going to connect them to Carlos. And because that lender conversation with the listing agent is so important. A lot of people don't realize that, but when you do that, you make them feel.
She interviewed me.
Yeah, you make them feel a lot more comfortable with your offer, because one of the last things that you want to happen is that deal to fall through because of financing. So if she didn't do her due diligence and check and interview you and ask questions, she wouldn't feel as confident in presenting an offer. I don't know how close that fourth offer was that came in. That came in, I believe, the morning of, and it sounded like it was super close. I think the thing that saved us was me, just being very communicative and easy with her, and just describing a couple little things here and there. And I also told her, hey, we're a little flexible if you need to move the closing date or you need to adjust something, whatever. I kind of gave her that heads up, put that in her ear. And at the end of the day, we won the bid.
Yeah, I think knowing, again, that's a higher price point than most of San Antonio. And to hear that those houses are going in 3 days was just baffling to me.
Yeah, that particular one because of the pool, and it was pretty much fully upgraded.
It was a really nice house.
Really nice house, yeah.
Yeah, the photos.
Gated community too.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. That's kind of cool.
Gated community, and that community probably had about 200 homes in it, or 250.
So it's a little more private, yeah.
Really small, yeah. And when I was actually looking at comps, there was only one in the last 6 months that sold in that with those particular specs. So, I mean, that'll tell you it's a small neighborhood, not a lot to pull from, probably very desired. I saw that, and from the very get-go, I was telling them, hey, I think this house is priced right. I think it's going to go within 30 days. And then, sure enough, 4 offers later. So, they're happy. They're happy with it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she signed, like I said, the buyer signed the docs last night.
Yeah. And
we're already packaging it. So we're in a good place.
And all those upgrades happened in the last 9 years. That's when the buyers bought. It was super dated. Like, it was all builder grade stuff. And then you can see they put in the pool in the last 9 years. They put in all the upgrades, the flooring, all new paint, new
that pool and that decking alone and the stone, I got to say, is, even if it was 9 years ago, it was probably $100,000 9 years ago.
Keystar's pool, yeah.
Yeah. It stands out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's got to be a $200,000 pool today.
Probably.
That's what's crazy.
That's what's
pools.
Crazy as hell. Yeah.
Digging a hole in the ground and moving out dirt, it's $200,000.
Yeah. Do not buy a pool. Buy a house with a pool.
Buy a house with a pool. Trust me, I've learned already.
Oh yeah.
What else do we have going on? If you want to look at what's going on in the market, the rates, the trends, rates have been a little up and down, but nothing dramatic. The Fed announced that they really don't plan on making any realistic moves. The 10-year Treasury is really what we look at, which is what's driving mortgage rates. That'll go down one day, and then it'll come back up one day, and then the wind blows the other day, and it's all over the place.
Not much happening, right?
No, you know what? I'll take normal. If this is the new normal, I would rather have normal where it's stable, because then people can have realistic expectations. I told you a couple months ago, we had a buyer that was approved for almost a $250,000 home. And when rates went back up, it dropped down to $225,000.
Yeah.
That's not okay. I mean, it just really messes with people and it stresses them out. So having a stable rate market makes it a little easier to now make an informed, strong decision.
Yeah, a lot of volatility in the market right now, in general, but it's really calmed down since the beginning of the year. So I'll take stable all day.
Oh yeah.
I think this last month it's been kind of like that, or towards the end of the month, and I feel that buyers are gradually getting used to it too. I think that's why we've seen a little bit more activity.
Yeah.
So that's good.
What are the things that you're seeing as you're out speaking with buyers, taking on listings? What are you seeing as a trend that people should look for? Are people going back to the older house with the bigger trees that are already established, or are people wanting that brand new home? Or are you seeing anything that's different?
Not really, no. I think it's all preference, because sometimes, in my experience, once you take a buyer to a builder and they see a brand new home, that's typically all they want. Everything's brand new. It's never been lived in. Even though they may not have big trees in an established neighborhood, it doesn't really matter to them. It's more about the inside to most buyers.
Where they're going to live.
Yeah. The only negative feedback I get from those communities is the distance. So if that's what they want and that's what they're leaning towards and they don't mind the commute, they'll probably pick new construction. If it's, and this is most first-time buyers, but if it's a second-time buyer and they're more aware of just the cost of home ownership and what's really important to them, and maybe that commute was a big deal for them, maybe they didn't think it was, maybe they're moving away from new construction, they want to be closer to the city for one reason or another, whether it's school or the base if they're military or job. I think those buyers will tend to try to be closer into the city because they know how important it is as far as commute time and stuff like that.
It's funny you say that, because my wife and I have owned a number of homes and lived in different cities and lived out of the country. And when we bought our fourth home, we bought 30 minutes outside of the city because we wanted to finally spend all the money that we had been saving all these years after buying the ultra tiny house and saving. Yeah, we bought the $80,000 house, the $160,000 house. I mean, we saved.
Mm-hmm.
And when we made money, we sold it and we put it away. And so when we bought that house that we thought was a dream home, we didn't like that 35-minute, 40-minute drive.
It's important.
Or the 25-minute drive just to the grocery store.
It's important.
Or the 15-minute drive just to get gas.
That stuff all matters when you start really thinking about it.
It was a great house,
yeah.
but it just got old.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And, God forbid you want to have a nice date downtown, and now I'm driving an hour.
That's another thing, right? There's so much new development going on downtown, too. And,
yeah.
The city's really big about doing events downtown, so...
Plus the food.
Yeah. Plus the food. Fiesta. So, I moved to the Corey area, and I lived out there close to Helotes, so it's been a big change for me, too, but I just love the location.
Do you really?
Yes, I wish I would have done that a long time ago. Close to the airport, straight shot downtown. I can get to downtown in 8 minutes.
Oh, yeah, I know. I
get to the airport in 5 minutes. So,
well, if you're in the Corey area of San Antonio, you have all the shops and restaurants and stuff all down Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
You have, again, airport 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You got grocery stores, you got gas stations, you got an entire mall if you want to go wander a mall.
Yep.
I mean, it's yeah. We thought about moving back into that area too. We just decided that we didn't want to live so close to people. And when she found the property that had such a big lot, we pulled the trigger.
Yeah, but you're a skip away from I-10, so it's still
It helps.
yeah,
It
it's still
helps.
pretty easy to be. And you got hills and dales right there too.
Yeah. Close to. I have options. I have options for entertainment. No plug to Hills and Dales.
That's funny. I think that's about it for today, right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on. I'm excited about where the trend is going. A lot of the people that I work with in the industry are feeling very secure that they should keep doing what they're doing. That this constant fear of a recession is maybe just media, because a lot of the people that I'm talking with in our business are doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't speak for the people that are in retail mortgage. They're struggling. I've got a buddy of mine that's done 3 deals all year, and he normally would have probably done 20.
Wow.
But he's expensive because their rates are expensive.
Every saving cost matters.
Yeah.
Whether it's $1, $10, $100,
So
it's a big deal.
we're seeing a lot of people doing really well, helping a lot of families, and one of the quotes that Matt Ishbia makes all the time at UWM is that brokers are winning. We're winning more deals than anybody else.
Yeah,
we just are. I recently looked at the number of transactions that were by the 2 largest brokerage in the U.S., Rocket Mortgage and UWM, and I just looked in San Antonio, and it's almost the largest percentage when you combine them both. Brokers are getting more business. It's just because we're better.
it matters.
It does. The rates matter.
Buying power, man.
Yeah. Plus, knowing that you can get a deal done in 14 days and not have to stress.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm wrapping up. Ryan, any shout out to the people out there today?
I would just say, if you have any questions regarding mortgage or brokers or what that is, we talk about this a whole lot, and we try to get into it in as much detail as possible, but sometimes stuff may go over your head. You may not fully understand. The broker is just a better route to go whenever you're looking for a mortgage. They're not tied to one type of product. They're tied to a ton of different products, whether you're self-employed or a 9-to-5 person, or if you're foreign national. They have so many different options for you. Whether credit score is good, bad, they can do the loan, and Carlos is my guy. So if we have any questions about mortgage, give us a call, and we'll be here to help, and we'll find you a house.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.